Welcome back, YouTubers, to another video here on Rasta Automotive. Today we are going to get started with ISTA P. And for all of the persons out there that want to use a KD cable, this video will work perfectly for you. So we're actually working on a 2011 BMW 328i X-Drive, and we are going to be updating quite a few modules in the car. Most notably the DME. The DME is the biggest module that we will be updating. There are quite a few others that get updated along with it. Big note here: thou shalt not update the modules that are on the most communication network with a KD cable, otherwise it will get bricked. So we are avoiding the most communication network completely. You can do every other module except for anything that is on the most bus network. So as you can see here, we connected through KD. I will say ISTA P is a bit slow, so here and there, little modification has been made. It's not 100% in real time, but ISTA P is doing a very good job at reading out the car. It gives you every bit of detailed information, right? For those of you who may have questions about ISTA P, it is a case where ISTA P can be used up until 2018, so that does include F-chassis vehicles, right? So you can use, once your car has an integration level below 2018, you can use ISTA P to do module updates and so on with it. You can also use ISTA Plus to do the same thing. The biggest difference that I have personally experienced where ISTA P is concerned is at least you can remove modules from the measures plan that you actually want to get done and update or program one individual module, whereas you cannot do that in ISTA Plus. So here you see it has read out all the mileage, the integration level planned, actual, and all that kind of thing. You can see all of the Salafa elements down on the bottom right as I'm scrolling through. And on the right hand side in that little box, it will show in a few the navigation system action codes and status. All right, this is our control module tree. You can see that everything on the center there is going to be on the most. The K can is on the left, PT can is on the right. It's quite simple actually. It's nothing too complicated. Everything right there where the mouse is highlighting is on the most communication network. Again, you do not want to be messing with any of that once you're using KD. Anything else, perfectly fine. So as you see, ISTA P does ask you, do you want to do partial programming or complete programming? Partial is going to, remove everything off the most network so that you don't have any interference where that is concerned. And that is definitely what we want to get done. So that is going to be removed from our measures plan. It will not be read by any means. Therefore, there's no opportunity for you to break your modules. I have been using ISTA P for some time. I've never had an issue where during flashing it has bricked any module. I have read on forums, I've heard people complain about that kind of thing. I've never been in such a situation before. Not sure what it is that they're doing. Not saying it's not possible, but that's just my experience. As stated before, here are the activation codes for your navigation system. So you see we have the 0017, 19, and the 1B and 2D file. That 1B file is the same file that is drawn from the navigation system so that you can activate FSC codes to do your navigation update. So that's also a service that is offered here. So if you do need a navigation FSC codes to generate updates for your maps, you can let me know and we can get that done for you. Now in the vehicle tab, we have various conversions and programming actions that can be taken. Most notably, some people always want to lower their oil service interval. It can be done through ISTA P. A lot of persons come with it at about 24,000 kilometers instead of the 6,000 kilometer warning. So that can be done there. In the data management there, the reports tab, it will show you any other vehicles you've worked on and that kind of thing. You can always pull up back those measures plan and see what it is that has taken place. Now that it's finished, we are going to determine the measures plan, see what it has in store for us. Alright, so here is our measures plan. I do like how ISTA P shows everything in one complete dialogue, or one complete sheet I should say. And at the end of this, it does give you an updated plan to show you what it is that has been successful and so on. I mean, the entire software, both ISTA Plus and ISTA P, does this. You can save a version of this if you want, or you can just go back to ISTA P at any point in time and go back through the logs and you will see it inside there just like this. So it shows you all of the necessary information that needs to be done. Yes, it is possible to do all of what it is that will be done here through NCS Expert, WinKFP. All of that is possible, yes. One and few parts of it here and there being done through Tool 32, yes, all of that can be done. For the average Joe, ISTA P here may make things a bit easier, granted that in my opinion it's very dummy proof. I don't see how it is that you would really mess up in ISTA P if you read and understand what is going on. That being said, in WinKFP you can also update individual modules and so forth, but you do also have the potential of maybe using outdated datums, having the wrong files, that kind of thing in NCS Expert, depending on what may happen if you don't follow clearly what it is that you're supposed to do. You may mess up some codings here and there. If you don't know what you're doing, you may not save any individual data or anything like that. All I'm showing here is just the things that are in the various tabs, what it is that it shows you. You can see the part number, you can see what is going to be coded, so the junction box, the DME, the CAS module, the combi, the seat, all of those there, that's the driver's seat, all of those will be updated. So as you can see, ISTA P got started with the CAS module, and trust me, the one thing that I will say is don't trust ISTA P on the time that it tells you that it will take to flash the module. It is definitely going to take longer. So if it tells you 17 minutes, it may take you half an hour, just to make that completely clear. So it starts with the CAS. First it programs it, then it is going to code it, and that kind of thing. For those who are a bit unsure, there's no problem with coding and programming your CAS module. It will not delete any of the data that is needed for the pairing of the DME, the CAS, and your keys. You can program it, you can code it, and it will be perfectly okay. It must also be noted that you must have a voltage stabilizer connected to your car, not a trickle charger, not a small battery maintainer or anything like that. There must be a unit that you have that is able to constantly supply anywhere between 13.5 to 14 volts consistently. That's maybe going to be your safe space, so that you can not only not kill the battery but give the modules enough power consistently throughout the entire programming process. If you don't, you may very well damage a module in your car, or a few of them. It's quite easy to get one of these. You can even custom build one. There are many videos on YouTube showing how it is that you can go about getting that done. So I have a custom built voltage stabilizer. I am getting about 14.4 volts from it at about 74 amps consistently, and that is what I use throughout this entire process. The terminal voltage that you see at the top right, that is produced by the ICOM emulator, so it is not an actual voltage that the car is getting. So you do need to be very mindful about the voltage and amperage that is being supplied. Here it is that we see that the CAS module has been successfully programmed. We're just waiting for that green tick to come up, which does take a while. And then after that, it will move on to programming the junction box, then the DME, then the seat, that's the driver's seat, then the combi, and then it does all the coding and upgrade the integration level. Here it just asks me to remove the key, or turn off the car and remove the key. Insert the key, I should say. It should be noted that the CAS module is programmed with the car off. There is still power that is being supplied to the module, so the CAS module has the car off to program it, and then you must turn the car on so that it can do a reboot of the system, and then it will get updated and everything. Alright, so right here the module gets updated successfully, nicely programmed, no issues there, everything is nice. Moving on to the junction box now. I guess you all get the gist of what is going on here. It does take quite a while for the programming to take place, so I will just skip ahead and update you when the next pop-up or anything like that comes up, so that we save on time. The only thing that happens here with all the other modules is the same as what you saw with the CAS, where it just simply gets programmed and that is it. As you see, it's actually going through quite quickly, to be honest with you, but the combi did take a little bit of time. So I'll see you in a few. All programming got finished, and now we're heading to coding. Coding is a very small file, so it should be very quick. Shouldn't really take too long. And then we go into upgrading the integration level and all that kind of thing. So as you can see, at this point it is just sitting down watching the screen, answering to any prompts that may come up. If there is an issue with the programming, ISTA P does tell you that you can maybe, like for the cast for example, it tells you that if it fails initially, you can program it about 2 other times before you start looking into a module replacement because of a potential fault in the module itself that can cause a failure. Alright. Some ideal things that you want to keep in mind is best practice to have the laptop that you're using plugged in to constant power. Make sure that you have a very good cable that you're going to be using to do programming on the card and that kind of thing. Right here, what we're getting into is reinitialization of the window regulator. So it's telling us to have all the windows and doors closed, that kind of thing. Standard procedure. If you were even doing this with WinKFP, then after doing a module update like this, especially with DME and so forth, then you would actually want to reinitialize certain things that are on the vehicle. And as you see, all of that is done. Now the fault memory is going to come back with an error, and that is because on this particular vehicle, the brake hardware sensor is faulty. So that is why all the fault codes were cleared and reread. We actually went in ISTA after this to show exactly what it is that has taken place and show the update of the eye level of the car and that kind of thing. Alright, and that is that, and as you see, this is our final report. All the modules updated, everything is alright. It's a pretty simple process. I will say that it does take a bit of time, but genuinely a very simple process. Alright, there's nothing too complicated to it other than maybe the initial setup of the software, making sure that you have the correct COM port selected, and to just kind of have an inkling for what it is that you're going to be doing. It's very, very simple. So the only time that you really do need to be worried is if you know for a fact that you have modules in the car that are not particularly ideal for the purpose of programming or encoding or anything like that. ISTA loves virgin modules. So modules that are brand new, preferably from the dealer, not a used one that has been programmed to another car. That now is where it is that it is preferred that you may use WinKFP Tool 32 and NCS Expert to do all of the necessary programming and encoding of a used module. But when it comes on to modules that came with your car, brand new and that kind of thing, it is not that it can't be done with ISTA P, but it prefers doing the programming on those. So that's really it. Here we're gonna get into ISTA very quickly, just to show you that the eye-level actual is now set to what ISTA P had just programmed it to, which is the latest version that ISTA P is allowed to go to, which is 2018, and it will also show us the fault codes here in ISTA, where we'll pretty much just be, deleting the fault memory, since ISTA P could not do it. I'm gonna do it with ISTA Plus, so makes it much simpler. So here you can see that we have the eye-level actual. It says E9X 1807520, which is the latest version that ISTA can offer for, well, ISTA P can offer for this vehicle. As I said, as a general rule, the latest version of ISTA P is only going to be able to work up to 2018 vehicles. All right. Once the eye level is less than 2018, it will program it to that point. If you want to go beyond 2018, this version of ISTA that I'm using, which is ISTA Plus, as you see, 4.3920 with programming data 4.4331, is what you would have to use. However, this version of ISTA does not work for programming of the E-chassis over KDCAN, right? As a matter of fact, ISTA Plus this version of ISTA Plus does not support the E-chassis in terms of doing programming. It only works from the F-chassis upwards. So for the E-chassis, you M-series and N-series fanboys, E-chassis is going to have to be subject to be programmed and encoded with the kind of updates that was just done by ISTA P. If you have an F chassis vehicle, you can use ISTA P, you can also use ISTA Plus. Either one will work fine. But for E chassis, ISTA P is where it's at. Alright? Or again, if you feel more comfortable using WinKFP, Tool 32, NCS Expert, that's also an option too. Alright, so I hope this was a very informative session about the use of ISTA P to obey modules. Any questions, queries, concerns, you can shoot me an email. Until then, thanks for watching.